launchers and
yeah,
on the
There
battlefield
should be.
tabletop. There should be, yeah. There should be, yeah, exactly.
Well, that's just it. Could they theoretically at this point come
I mean,
up
just
with
think of
that?
it like 5 die per guy with a vengeance weapon. And
I think we're still not out of an unlimited range melto gun. That would just be frightening to me.
But the grenade launcher, where that one came from as well, again, an interesting GW story is that initially we were like, well, we need something which is kind of like a grenade launcher. That would be a great kind of another tool to the arsenal of the Space Marines. And the discussion was, well, Space Marines don't really have those. The closest thing that has those is Imperial Guard. All right, well, can we say that they kind of discover an Imperial Guard one on the planet? Well, yeah, we could do that. But then we looked at it and went, well, if it was an Imperial Guard one, the size of it in a Space Marine's hand would be gun. So we decided, all right, well, that's not really going to work. So what should we do? Well, let's say that, you know, it is a Forge world. It develops all kinds of different technology on there. So it's a newly developed piece of technology, maybe a weapon, but you know, Titus discovers that, and that's how you get control of it. So
Sparked it from the Imperial Guard and then developed a big one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But those are the kind of things that we work with GW on in terms of, you know, certain things you just need for a gameplay experience, and they're willing to kind of, you know, mold the lore to kind of help achieve that. So who knows where we'll now start seeing Space Marine models with big, huge
Be awesome.
launchers. Pretty cool, yeah.
Like, we did that.
Yeah.
I noticed the plasma pistol too has that charge up, but when you hit somebody, it like delay explosion, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
you can charge it up kind of like, I don't even know what to call it, but yeah, you can make a pretty big ball by holding it for a while. They'll stick on them, like, the awesome thing is, like, in multiplayer you can do that, and it hits their back, and they may not even notice, and all of a sudden they're running, and they're like, dead. Like, how did I die? And all of a sudden it's like, you got killed by this weapon, and you're like, damn you!
Yeah.
So, but it's pretty fun to play
That's
with.
a neat twist on the plasma pistol, so I like that. I also was taking out big groups with it too, because I hit one guy in the middle and then keep running, and then like a little smaller AoE, but it would drop a bunch of guys. So that was neat.
I almost feel sometimes like the new Captain America movie kind of stole our weapon. Like, seriously.
All the plasma.
Yeah. Like even the color. I'm like, did they play our game?
Of course they did.
So I saw the video you guys did the other day, the Blockbuster Entertainment one. What movies, actually, I know he just mentioned Captain America, but what movies and what maybe even TV shows influenced you guys in the making of it? I know you guys talked about recruiting a full orchestra, but what really were those blockbuster experiences that influenced you?
Well, there's one movie in particular which did influence us quite a lot. And I would wonder if you think there's any particular movie that might have... it's just an interesting game for me to play. Is there any movie that you think that may have inspired us? Because there's one in particular, especially with the combat experience, slow motion kind of moments, a lot of the blood.
300.
So the big kind of influencing factor, and a lot of what Zack Snyder does, because he has a real sense of kind of embodying those big kind of blockbuster fight moments, and so that's definitely been a big influence over the combat. But then just narrative and characters, things like Gladiator. Titus is very much a gladiator-style kind of warrior, very stoic and very strong, but very clear in his mission. So movies like that as well, and even movies like Lord of the Rings as well. Again, with character development and leading men and ladies in those movies. So you know, characters from those movies as well influenced how we wanted to build the story and the
one I keep the song that keeps playing in my head every time I play Space Marine.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you guys had ever heard of it by Nightwish.
No.
You have got if you trust me when I say that song needs to be playing in a trailer somewhere for it, because it is in my opinion the epitome of the Space Marine experience.
Yeah, we can tell our video audio.
Yeah, we've still got a few more videos today. Maybe we can get that one.
Definitely check it out.
Send the name to Matthew. We'll check it out.
Yeah, a lot of the music is actually, a lot of the music in the trailers that we recently released actually are from the game, so the music guys did a really good job.
Yeah, the composers, I have to apologize, I don't have the names in my brain right now, but they're definitely online somewhere. But those guys have worked on a number of big entertainment properties and games, anything from the Splinter Cells to the Gods of War. So they're really, really experienced, and they really brought an interesting flavour to the world of creating that kind of epic, grand orchestral feel. So.
About that audio too, can you guys tell us a little bit about some of the voice actors you guys had?
We can tell you about
Mark Strong.
Mark Strong's our leading guy. So you know, he was in Green Lantern. He's done Rock and Roller. He's done Sherlock Holmes. Great guy. Interesting thing about him is that he came on board. Didn't know a lot about 40K. Didn't know a lot about Space Marine, but really everything about the character he wanted to know as much as he could about Titus and what they stood for. And as he learned, he kind of came up with his. You know, Mark has a very strong kind of dark, booming English voice anyway, but he molded it to Titus, and GW, as soon as they heard it, went, this guy's nailed it. Like, that's how a Space Marine should always sound. So he's now being considered the quintessential archetypal Space Marine voice. Like, if anyone is going to do it again, they've got to do it as well as Mark.
Gotcha.
So he's our leading guy, and then we have a number of other English actors, probably pretty much everyone in it is English, because everyone in the world of 40K apparently speaks with an English accent. But we have a number of guys from England who've either done TV or movies, probably a little lower down on the list than Mark Strong, but have brought very powerful, strong character voices to each of the people in the movie and the game.
In that booklet that's in front of your system, I believe it lists 4 or 5 of the key voice actors.
Yeah.
How many of them, are there any that were returning from Dawn of War 2 or any of the others?
I don't know if there are that many, to be honest. I think we kind of went with a pretty new cast. We were working with a different talent agency for Space Marine and a different audio studio called Side in the UK. Has a really good pedigree with, again, video games. So they did stuff for Fable and other big games, and just has a really good library of English actors. Like, they helped us secure Mark Strong, so we kind of went with a new cast for this particular game.
Well, and the story of Space Marine is different from Dawn of War, so you know, it might not have made sense to bring over some of those people, because you'd be like, wait a minute, weren't
Yeah, although those guys do some great voices. And some of the guys do wars of all different characters. They'll be doing Chaos Lords and Orc war bosses, and then a Space Marine. One guy will do all 3 different voices, which is very cool that they're that diverse that they can do that. So.
Did you ever consider using Connect or Move?
We look at all different things like that, but it was never something which was a big focus for us. We've always been focused really on building a core game experience that works really well on console platforms. And is, you know, an action blockbuster oriented product. So Connect and Move, you know, that really isn't a focal point for that type of game. But we look at these things. We look at all different things though when you're building a game. So.
Yep, what he said.
Spinning around.
I mean, honestly, would you really want to play a third-person shooter with Connect?
Yeah.
Really?
Try with high.
That's my. I mean, I'm not in a position to make that decision, but that's just my opinion.
Everyone wants to hide behind their couch.
Hey, I use my Connect. It's good. Get some dancing going.
Are you guys able to tell us anything about any of the items that will be for the avatars?
No.
Well, apart from the pre-order items that are out already.
I mean, yeah, the pre-order content that's out. I mean, the Avatar items, they're coming August 16th on Xbox and PSN. We are going to be rolling that out as some news content and the next week, obviously, if it's coming out.
Right.
So it's coming.
But it's so close.
It is. I'll send you guys what that update's going to be, and you guys can as well post on the same day we go live with the content.
You're gonna get there's gonna be a bunch of stuff soon.
Well, I signed up for the forums on day 1.
So yeah, if you guys haven't joined the Honor Guard, you should.
We've got some community manager guy that runs it.
Yeah,
I
some
haven't
guy.
heard of him.
Some guy, I don't know who he is either. I wonder who makes those crazy posts on it.
Some guy, what?
So we're all set.
We're set for multiplayer?
Yes.
Okay. So Simon and Morton made sure to get us all loaded in. It's lockdown multiplayer first round, right?
Yeah, so multiplayer for the first few rounds we're going to be playing at, we set the trophy levels to 5. Basically what that means is you've unlocked a few of the weapons, there's a little bit of variety, but you're still pretty low level. You'll learn unlocks, you'll sort of earn challenges as you play. We're going to play a bunch of matches like that. Probably not worth jumping heavily into the customizer at this stage because a lot of stuff will still be locked out. And then after we've done a few matches, you guys kind of got used to the game. I'm going to boost you all up to level 41, and then you can play around with customizer and make it right.
But the theme of all the matches is kill Matt.
That's important.
I will be Space Marine 1.
Yes.
And as well, so for multiplayer, again, and Simon chime in if I say something I shouldn't, you can record content, you can show off customizer. I know we've released some stuff, but we haven't released everything.
Yeah,
and I mean, feel free.
For the customizer, I'd wait till we get the level 41, just so you can see the full.
Just so it's fully
breadth
unlocked.
of it, but,
It might be worthwhile actually just overall doing recording once we've unlocked to the max level, because people are going to be more interested. You're not going to have a match full of ultramarines running around. You're going to have people with custom gear and cool weapons, so it'll probably make a much more interesting video than recording everyone at level 5.
Yeah.
So
Will the
maybe wait until we boost stuff and then do any recording you want then.
Will the exclusive DLC packs be already preloaded into
All of the retailer DLC packs are loaded into this build, yes.
Space for the
So
win?
when I boost you to level 41, it will unlock everything you unlock through the game, all of the challenge-based unlocks, all the level-based unlocks, all the perks, all the retailer content will all be unlocked and available.
Actually, that is one question I meant to ask. With the retailer content now, I know you get specific with the retailers. Will they all be unlocked? I know it's kind of like early access. Will they all be unlocked by the time you reach 41, or will you have to buy the DLC set?
For the retailers,
separately?
You'll have to buy that DLC content.
So you can kind of make your own versions
Yeah.
of those.
but
as
it'll
well.
be
You won't
lesser
have-
quality.
It's gonna be
It
less
won't be less
quality.
quality. It won't have the
Something like
exact
that.
same armor, but you can still make a Space Wolves guy.
But it will be available at a later date for purchase then.
Yeah,
So that's
I've said that on the forums already.
People miss it all the time.
Yeah, so that content will be available. When that will happen, we haven't announced, but just like any other game, most retail pre-order content will be available in the future.
But yeah, in terms of the chapters that are in there, obviously you say, for example, the Space Wolves, there's the really cool Space Wolf content. The Space Wolves are in there as a standard chapter. We have a template Space Wolf chapter. You can choose Space Wolves. You can customize all your armor, make your own Space Wolves. The difference with the retail pack is the retail pack has kind of like the wolf heads on the backpack and the loincloth and all those extra bits of the models. So it's not that Space Wolves aren't available to anyone who buys the game unless they get through that retailer. It's just the additional kind of model pieces are tied into that retail pack.
Flare.
Your
Visual
flare is flare.
So let's, if no one has any other questions, let's jump in and we'll get some multiplayer action going and see
Kill Matt, though.
see how many of you can attempt to kill me.
I got you.